Welcome to the Schmoopydady streaming experience. I'm your host, as per usual, Schmoopydady. In case the first time watching the stream or the VOD or the video on YouTube, I'm a monthly Hearthstone Wild Legend player who typically hits Legend first of the month, and after that I goof off. When I goof off, I play your decks. But tonight I'm reviewing a mini set really briefly. This expansion, Lost City of Un'Goro, has in general been a disappointment. People were all hyped to come back to Un'Goro. People were hyped for big dinosaurs. People were hyped for feeling a little bit of Hearthstone nostalgia. And instead, what we got was kind of a low power level, uninteresting, uninspired designed set. Some people are saying worse than Rastakan's Rumble. I don't think the mini set is as bad as other people are saying it is. I think there are some things to cook with and some things to have fun with in here. How much of an impact are they going to have on the wild meta is yet to be seen. I wouldn't be shocked if it's not a whole lot. But we're going to have at least one card that I think makes an impression, and it just takes one card to make an impression, to transform the wild meta, and to make it feel like it's been moved by the mini set. So my honest opinion on the following cards: it's a little bit colored by the fact that I just came from my fantasy football draft, and so I'm a little bit lit, so we'll see how this goes. A Story of Umbra, too expensive, nice arena card. Discover a Death Rattle minion that costs 5 or more, summon it, and trigger its Death Rattle. I mean, I'm sure this is goated in arena with a curated pool, or maybe it's good in standard with a curated pool, and wild, this is crap. We don't want this. Hollow Direthorn, just pause for a second. Rush, after a friendly minion dies, spend 3 corpses, gain Reborn. If you have a bunch of little minions on board, and then you drop this thing down, you trade one in, give it Reborn, trade into a bigger thing, it dies, trade in another minion, give it Reborn, trade into, a giant again, it dies, trade in another little minion. I could see some really complicated fun clears at 5 mana for this. What DK deck wants this. Idiots will say it's not even. I think we're past the point where Death Knight has to be even in order to work in Wild. Like, some people just like even Death Knight. That's fine, but I think this is a really interesting card, and I think this is a card that you're going to see some application of in Standard potentially, and then get ideas for how to then apply it to Wild, because for some reason it sometimes works in reverse. The Standard players have a lot of talent, a lot of good deck builders, and they kind of figure out the best things to do, and then we steal their tricks in Wild and we apply them. I think this is a card that we should look out for, as far as like, hey, okay, 5 is a little expensive, but if you have minions that are sticking and you can trade at least one of them, this might swing the board in your favor. Soul Rest Ceremony. Give your minions +1 attack and rush. They die at the end of your turn. I don't know how to evaluate this. Making corpses is good. The +1 attack is good. Rush is good. Like, 1 mana is good. Like, everything tells me this is a good card. This is doing things that Death Knight wants. So I'm going to say that this is good. I don't quite know how to apply this, but this seems like this has application. Diablos Rex. Kindred. Deal 6 damage to your opponent's left and rightmost minions. House of Arena card. Garbo in Wild. We don't use it. It's too expensive. Summon 3 Horn of Feasting. Summon 3 2/1 Raptors with Rush. Outcast. Give them immune while attacking this turn. Seems like a Reno DH card. Doesn't seem bad at all. 4 mana for basically a board clear is like kind of standard fare, and like these could possibly have immune and have tempo afterwards. I don't hate it. But Reno DH is like in such a horrible spot that the fact that we're welcoming this into the fold is probably not a good sign. Maybe we try to come up with like a rush DH like we used to, and lean on our the 4/3 with rush that buffs all minions with rush when they attack. Like, maybe we lean on that again. I don't know. I don't think this card is bad, but I don't think this card necessarily has a home right now. We're going to be trying to find a home for it. Skittish Saucier. Battlecry. Reduce the cost of adjacent cards in your hand by 1. So it's basically like a 1 mana 4/2, and then it's kind of discounting stuff on the side. Probably good in arena, not good in constructed. Seismopod is garbage. Give all minions in your hand and deck +3/+3. I saw somebody be like, maybe we can use it in Astral Communion Druid. No, you don't. You never, like, the stats are useless in Astral Communion Druid. This is a Timmy card. Somebody wants to make big numbers go burr, good for you. Go make big numbers, go burr. But I think this card's garbage. Panther Mask. Set a minion stats to 5/4 and give it stealth. Draw 2 cards. It's funny because this is like calling back on that like famous Panther minion. I forget what exact minion it was, but I used to play it in my odd Linecracker Beast Druid when that summon 2 beast cards with 7 mana. That was good times. Yeah, I'm sure this is good for like standard. This is not great for wild, I don't think. Long Neck Egg I think is really interesting in that it cracks. And it says, give your minions +1/+1, which includes, I imagine, the 2/1 beast. So the 2/1 beast is going to come out a 2/3. It's going to come out a River Croc. I imagine that's actually kind of okay, but like the fact that this needs to crack and you need to like buff it in order for it to attack, in order for it to die, in order to buff the rest of the board, like it's a little bit high maintenance, and I don't think that means that it has a place in wild really, even though I kind of like the design in and of itself. I'm not even going to try this card's name. Taunt, Death Rattle, summon 2 3-cost beasts. They attack random enemies. I think it's garbage. Probably fine in standard because the power level is so low, but we can't play it in wild. Devilsaur's Mask. Set a minion stats to 8/8 and gave it charge. This is going to see more play in Rogue than it will in Hunter. Raptor Nest Nurse. Battlecry, get a random 1-cost minion. Death Rattle, get a random 1-cost spell. Man, I wish this was tutor. Getting is crazy value. This is going to be a great arena card. Not a good Hunter card. Not a good card for wild, in my opinion. Techiosaurus costs 1 less for each card you played this game that didn't start in your deck. So we're looking at in wild basically a 0-mana 3/6 with Taunt. That might see play. It's a mech, so you can tutor it, and it's a beast. It might see play. I don't know what deck wants it, but it wouldn't shock me if like you just saw it like splashed in a deck, especially if it were, let's say we're doing like the new Quest deck, right? The new Quest deck. And it's like maybe you don't build it around Pelkelt and you have these in there to just drop. I don't know. This is maybe it's too slow. I'm trying to think about it in terms of like open the Waygate. At what turn does this become playable? It's pretty easy to like spam coins and get this thing down kind of early. I don't know. It wouldn't shock me if this saw play. Sheep Mask is weird and gross. Weird. Like, you're just turning something into an explosive sheep for 4 mana is, like, ew. It's worse than... Okay, here's what's weird. This is worse than, like, polymorphing something. Because you're, like, turning it into, like, I don't know. You're giving it an extra death rattle. Well, Schmoopy, the death rattle affects the other minions. Yeah, but, like, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just fucking weird and freaks me out. Tribute Dance. Choose a minion. Choose a different minion to transform it into. There might be a combo with this, but 5 mana is very steep. I'll say that. Heroes Welcome. Discover a legendary minion to summon. Set stats to 10/10. High roll arena card. Hatching Ceremony, I think, is an interesting card to think about. It might not be ultimately very good, but I think it's an interesting card to think about. At the end of your next turn, give your minions +2/+2. Can you imagine this in old school Odd Paladin? Where it's like you play this on turn 3, and then on turn 4, you're going Muster for Battle, Tour Guide, Hero Power, and then that all those minions are now 3/3s. That would go so hard. I feel like Hatching Ceremony has some interesting patterns of play. If you know that you're going to double Showdown Beam on turn 4, playing it on turn 3 is pretty good. If you know you're going to Call to Arms on 4, playing it on turn 3 is pretty good. Are those upsides better than the downsides? I don't know. I think something tells me that this card gets experimented with, but it's probably like somewhere around one of the last cards added to the lists. We try it. We either like it or we don't like it. Wouldn't shock me if it was okay and playable. I don't think it's going to knock anybody's socks off, though. Kindred, give your other minions a rush. So, like, Conditional Broom seems really interesting to me. I think this is like, kind of a busted minion in some sort of Murloc Paladin. Honestly, probably more of a standard card than a wild card, but it's really interesting. Give your other minions rush. So you need to have just played one elemental or one Murloc. Something to keep in the back of your mind as far as like playable cards. The effect is great. It's just the condition to the effect is a little bit. Behemoth Mask. I'm actually kind of high on this card. Set a minion's stats to 8-10 and give it lifesteal. Force a random enemy minion to attack it. Frequently, when we're playing Reno Priest, we have the ability to stick minions at some point. And slapping this right on top of it is actually kind of cool. It's not Shadow, though, so it wouldn't be a Shadow Reno Priest. It'd have to be some sort of questline Reno Priest. I mean, there are worst 7s. Another thing I was thinking about is, like, we're frequently playing Amathul in Reno Priest. And besides just having Amathul stick himself, there are 2 other ways that for free we can produce another minion and then slap Behemoth's Mask on top of it. So, like, I think this is going to see a non-zero amount of play and be very tilting when it beats you. I don't think this totally sucks. I don't know if this is like, ending it and creating any new archetypes or anything though. Atlasaurus. Taunt, Death Rattle. Oh, excuse me. Subbing a random taunt minion that costs 5 or more. Nice arena card, very sticky. Ritual of Life is just Cactus Construct but nerfed and a little bit different. It's probably a decent card in Standard. I don't think it's good enough in Wild. Mirex, the Crystalline. While in your hand, this is a 3/3 copy. The last minion your opponent played. What does Zephrys offer? If it sees a Zephrys on the board, and you play your Zephrys, which is a 3-mana 3/3, what does Zephrys offer for turn 4? I wonder what it offers for turn 4. Probably some sort of a tempo play. Probably some sort of like the 4/3 give a beast +2/2 type shit. Like something along those lines. Maybe a true silver champion or something like that. Whatever the sword is. I don't know. I don't think this card is nearly as good as you think it is. And some people are like, oh, I can't wait to copy an A&R. Motherfucker, when is A&R ever the last minion that your opponent's played and you're not dead? Crystal Tusk. Shuffle the leftmost card in your hand into your deck. Death Rattle, draw 2 cards. This seems bad to me. The best time you want to equip this is with an empty hand. That's what this seems to me. This is like if you're emptying your entire hand, Crystal Tusk might be applicable. Costume Merchant, Battlecry, get a mask from another class. Combo, make it cost 2 less. This seems like a card where you're trying to high roll Behemoth Mask, or you have a deck in Standard that is leveraging getting one of the masks randomly and then leveraging it somehow. I don't think it's particularly good. But like, No, I don't think it's particularly good. Like, if your best option is Sheep Mask or Panther Mask, I don't think so. Chill Spine's Stegodon. Battlecry. Deal 2 damage to 2 random enemies, kindred, freeze them. The fact that it goes just minions, I think I completely become uninterested. Tor Totem. At the end of your turn, get a random minion with multiple minion types. Bad even Shaman card. That's a huge amount of health. That is a non-zero amount of health, and we have a little bit of flex anyway. I might put it in as like card 29, 30 in an even Shaman just for shits and giggles, because like it is so huge, it's tough to remove. You don't need the random like resource generation in even Shaman, but it's fun. And considering the rest of the deck is so formulaic and so consistent, throwing this in there is really not the worst thing in the world, in my opinion. Fire Breath. Deal 4 damage, give your elementals +1/+1. For 3 mana, dealing 4 is good. For 3 mana, giving your elementals +1/+1 is meh. Doing both together for 3 mana is a pretty good deal. I guess it depends on how you want to build your elemental shaman. I like building my elemental shaman as burst from hand. meaning I'm using like Corrupt the Waters and I am doubling up on Scar or something like that. And it really doesn't matter how much of a board I'm setting. This like the board buff is kind of immaterial and dealing 4 damage. I can deal more of that with the battle cries. If you're going for more of a tempo first type approach, is this better? And plus we've got some elementals that draw and boost fire spell damage. I mean, maybe a style of elemental shaman likes this, but I don't even know if elemental shaman likes this. I'm more likely to run elemental destruction or lightning storm than I am this, because I'm probably going to need a way to deal with the opponent's wide board, not buffing my board. So I'm kind of meh on this, even though I think it's probably a pretty good card. Asphyxiodon. Taunt at the end of your turn. Deal 5 damage to a random enemy minion. I don't know why we would ever play this on purpose in our deck. Possessed Animator. Summon a random beast from your deck. Give it lifesteal. I don't know why we would ever run this on purpose in our deck. Bat Mask. This card might spawn an entirely brand new archetype. How do you guys like Elwyn Boar? How do you like Elwyn Boar with Bat Mask? That might be a real deck, especially since our format has Blood Bloom. We can play this for 8 health and 4 mana and set it really early, and that might be very, very interesting. Any other ideas that people come up with, whether that's going to be Mogu Cultist, or whether that's going to be Obelisk, or just like insert like bad minion choice, you're going to need to make a very, very, very good case for why you're using Bat Mask to do that. As with that card instead of Elwyn Boar, because I think Elwyn Boar is just like peak of what you can do with this specifically. All right. The Great Dractorex Rush. After this attacks an enemy minion, it damages all other enemy minions. So like once you deal 5, you're dealing 5 to all other enemy minions as well. It's expensive, but it's a dragon beast, and you could tutor it with something like Cattle Rustler, and now it doesn't cost 8 anymore, it costs 5. That coming down on 5 is actually kind of significant in Warrior. I don't know if anybody's going to bother to do that. I don't know if you ever build around this. I don't know if it's a good enough effect, but it's a 5/12 that you can get out for cheaper than 8. I think you look at it. Barricade Basher, I think, is one of the most fascinating cards to cook with in the set. One of the things that Enrage Warrior struggles with in Wild is swinging back the board once the board's been taken. This provides a way to do that. Skipper, and you put down an Armor Smith, and then you put down a Barricade Basher in like a tempo Enrage list. I'm not playing this on purpose in my Odin Warrior fucking ever, but like in like more of a tempo hipster list, you're talking about gaining armor, and then every time that this bashes into a minion, it gains armor and thus attack with Armor Smith on board. I don't know. This is going to be a really interesting card. This could be like a weird, very cheap, like if you stick an Eternium Rover or an Armor Smith and then trade once and drop this fucker down, have this fucker drop down when you trade that one time, you might watch this turn into like a weird super tempo board clear type situation. This is a really cool card. Let's just keep an eye on this. I doubt Enraged Warrior ever gets higher than tier 2 anyway on a good day, but even if it found itself at like tier 3 playable, it's better than it would be right now, especially if you're playing that Kobold Barbarian list. Dear fucking god. Guard Duty. Summon a random 6/4 and 2 cost taunt minion. I guess if we care about taunt, this is like a fairly okay card, but you're basically passing turn 7 to tutor 3 cards. You could probably tutor those 3 cards for 3 with all you can eat. So I think this is probably dog water. Beast Speaker Taka. I think Taka is going to be kind of cool in Arena because like it's kind of sticky and it keeps the stats that it discovers, and then it can die and bring the beast out itself. Like I think that's probably an okay tempo card, but it's not. I'm not excited for it in Wild. Egg of Klegos. Think about what this does with Umbra, OG Umbra. So you drop Umbra, you drop the egg, and it makes slightly broken egg, and then a slightly cracked egg, and then a slightly cracked egg, and a slightly cracked egg, and then it has a 20/20 beast in the other end of it, and you've got this huge board of slightly cracked eggs that will, like, you know, as they start falling, as they start breaking, make new 20/20s. It's kind of a funny board for 7 mana, but it doesn't have taunt and it doesn't have rush. I don't know how like good that's really going to be, but it's going to be a brand new funny that we can do. It's about the best way I can think to leverage this in Wild. I don't think this is very good. Crater Experiment is a 5 mana 3/4 that summons a copy of itself if it, you know, if Kindred has been met. Seems like an easy Murloc Paladin card. I don't think Murloc Paladin is a great deck in Standard, even though it's hated and it beats up on noobs and it beats up on homebrew. I have, honestly, even money on Crater Experiment getting nerfed because of the summon a copy effect and the fact that there are a couple decks that leverage that summon a copy effect. Murloc Paladin would be one of them. Some sort of hand buff Hunter might be another one of them. I have even money this actually gets nerfed at some point. Even though I don't think it's like a terribly good card, but just Standard is so weak. It wouldn't shock me if this got nerfed anyway. Holy Egg Bearer might be the best card printed in the set. Draw a 0 attack minion. We have some relevant 0 attack minions in our format. We have the Hunter Egg. We have Street Trickster's probably not good enough. But we have a couple other ones that are actually like really super solid. Shark, Frog seem really good for 2 mana. You really kind of have to, like, you're playing an understated, you're playing an instrument tech, and your swing back has to be really, really, really significant. I think just tutoring Spirit of the Shark or Spirit of the Frog are good enough reasons to run Holy Egg Bearer, and it's also going to have some future value. I think it, you know, as we keep doing other 0 attack minions and bringing them in, they're going to be good. Wishing Well is not one of the cards you should be tutoring with this deck, because Wishing Well is best tutored with Sketchy Information and Meat Wagon. So I don't want to have any decks ever that have Holy Egg Bearer tutoring Wishing Well, or I will time you out for 20 fucking minutes, because there are better ways for us to cheat out the Wishing Well. If I tutor it with Holy Egg Bearer, I have to pay 5 mana for my Wishing Well. I want to pay like 2 mana or 4 mana for Wishing Well, not 5. Glad we understand that. Stop saying Wishing Well when we see this card. Wishing Well does not belong with Holy Egg Bearer. Holy shit. Last but not least, Herbivore Assistant. Battlecry, give a friendly beast +2/+2 and rush. I'm sure this is a great arena card in some comps, but like, meh. All right. Final thoughts on the mini set as a whole. I think we have some interesting cards, and I think we have some cool things to play with and experiment with. I would say at least one in each class. Whether it's powerful enough, we have something new to kind of try, which I think is going to be a more favorable and a better mini set review than you're going to see some other people how they rate this mini set, especially when its impact on Wild. I think we're going to try some of these things. Some of these things are going to be good. We're going to try some of these things, and these things are going to be not worth. And we learn, and we say, But it's better than just getting like full on crap, like we got basically with the set. And are like, wow, none of these cards are going to do anything. And then none of the cards did anything because there was no hidden design. These at least feel like some of them could sneak up on us and turn out to be like kind of decent in lists. So I hope you enjoyed that quick, Wild-focused mini set review. In case you enjoy this content, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing on my YouTube channel. And have a good night.